Hello, and welcome to this training video that will cover the Hoyer presence.
Within this video, we will provide an introduction to a passive lift, criteria for its use, and the weight limitations.
In addition, we will explain the features and proper placement of the full back sling, as well as a demonstration with step-by-step instructions on how to transfer a resident. The Hoyer presence is a full body lift designed for residents who are immobile. Residents can be transferred from bed to chair, chair to bed, wheelchair to toilet, and/or floor to bed. The presence cannot be used on residents weighing over 500 pounds. The presence has two cradle options. One is the loop-style cradle, and the other is the clip-style cradle. This video will demonstrate the presence being used with the loop-style cradle.
This section of the video will go over the following features. The battery is centrally mounted on the lift and is easily removed and replaced. To remove the battery, lift up the metal clip behind the battery.
To replace the battery, align the battery against the mast and slide down while pushing forward, listening for an audible click to indicate the battery is in place.
A charging station and two batteries are shipped with each lift. Batteries should be replaced once per day or after each shift, depending on usage. The emergency stop button is a big red button, and its purpose is to stop electronic operation of the lift. Simply push the red button in to abort operation. To resume control, turn the red button in the direction of the arrows and it will pop back out. Below the red button are two holes with an up and down arrow.
An object the size of a pen can be placed into the hole if your hand pendant fails to operate, but the battery still has charge. This will enable the caregiver to manually raise and lower the cradle. Located under the arrows is a battery meter that displays the amount of charge remaining in the battery. 4 bars represent a 100% charge, while 1 bar represents a 25% charge. Batteries should not be allowed to fully discharge. Recharge the batteries when the meter shows 1 bar. If a power cord is displayed, then the lift has no charge. 2 batteries are shipped with each lift so that 1 battery can always be placed on the charging station. The emergency descent is built into the actuator on the presence. One model requires you to lift up on the red tab at the bottom of the actuator and hold it as the lift slowly lowers. If your lift has the Smart Monitor feature, here is what you need to know about this model control box. Below the emergency stop are 4 buttons. The up and down buttons are redundant controls for raising and lowering the presence. The sideways arrows are redundant controls for opening and closing the base of the presence. This system will work if the remote fails to operate properly, but the battery still has a charge. The red collar at the top of the actuator is used to provide additional safety if there is a battery failure. Turn the collar clockwise to slowly lower the resident down safely. Located under the redundant controls is an LCD display. The battery status display indicates the amount of charge in the battery. When the display shows half full, it is time to replace the battery. The empty battery symbol indicates the battery has no capacity and should be replaced immediately. The Smart Monitor control box will emit an audible signal when the battery has reached this state.
The hand control or pendant has 4 buttons to raise and lower the lift and open and close the base. Arrows indicate the direction of motion. The rear casters have locks that are engaged by using your foot to lock them. These locks are only used in 2 situations: when parking the lift or when you are picking a resident up from the floor. The metal loop is known as the straight line drive, and its purpose is to aid in mobility. By flipping the loop to fall over the wheels, the lift will track over the stabilized wheel.
This makes it easier when steering the lift down the hall or pivoting in tight spaces.
The foot push plate is used to begin movement of the lift, using your leg and maintaining an ergonomic position, rather than pushing with your back and arms. This is especially helpful when transferring a heavy resident and/or moving a resident on carpet. Now let's take a look at the side of the lift that is used by our residents.
The loop-style cradle rotates 360 degrees, allowing you to pick up residents from almost any location. There are 6 attachment points for this sling. Normally, the front and back ones are used with most transfers. The optional weight scale uses a digital display and should be zeroed out before each lift. This is done by holding the on/0 button in and seeing the 0.00 appear. Then place the sling on the lift to weigh it and zero the scale out again.
Be sure the resident is not in contact with anything other than the lift when reading the weight. A recall button is available if you walk away from the lift without transcribing the weight. This will only recall the last patient weighed. You can push a button to select the reading in either pounds or kilograms.
The Presence has a long lifting range, allowing residents to be transferred in virtually all environments. The Presence can be operated with the legs in any position, whether open or closed or in between. Hoyer Pro lifts are tested for safety in all transfers. This video will demonstrate how to remove and attach the full back sling.
Sling sizes are color-coded. A brown trim is used for pediatrics. The red trim is used for small slings. Yellow is a medium sling. Green is large, and blue is extra large. The sling is marked with the size, laundering instructions, and an arrow. The arrow indicates the top of the sling, and the label goes on the outside, away from the resident's body. Purple tabs are aligned down the center of each sling, which can really help when aligning the sling.
Now let's go through the steps of transferring residents using the Presence.
Before taking the lift to the resident's room, you should always check two things. First, make sure the battery is charged, and secondly, ensure you have the correct sling size. The sling size can be found on the sling's tag and on the resident's care or service plan. A sling guide is located on each lift.
In this video, we will demonstrate a bed-to-chair transfer using the full back sling, which cradles the head as the resident is being lifted.
Caregivers will stand on each side of the bed and log roll the resident to one side. Fold the sling in half using the two purple tabs to indicate the center of the sling.
The purple tab at the top should be placed at about the resident's shirt label and the other at the tailbone area. That helps to provide an accurate and centered fit of the sling.
Begin tucking the top portion of the folded sling under the resident. Then, roll the resident to the opposite side and gently spread the sling out flat so that the resident is lying evenly on the sling. Next, we will place the leg portion of the sling under the resident. Begin by tucking the sling under the knee on both sides.
Then, thread the right leg strap through the dignity strap on the left leg strap. Finally, cross the right leg strap with the left leg strap. This will increase both the resident's dignity and their safety.
Now, bring the lift over to the resident's bed. We want our resident to be the center of gravity, so you do not need to lock the wheels. Since we are taking our resident to a seated position, you may want to raise the head section of the bed. This will put your resident more at ease and decrease the amount of time they are being lifted. Using the hand control, lower the spreader bar at or just below the resident's shoulder. Begin by attaching the shoulder straps to the cradle and then attach the leg straps. If appropriate, inform the resident that they are about to be transferred. Using the hand pendant, push the up arrow button. Before beginning your transfer, make sure the resident has clearance under their buttocks and that their heels are not sliding across the bed. We want to make sure we are not creating any shearing or friction when we transfer the resident. Using the foot push plate will allow you to easily guide the lift to your destination. Once the resident is at the chair, align them towards the back of the chair and begin lowering them while using the sling to guide them towards the rear of the chair. If we sit the resident too close to the front of the chair, then we will have to reposition them, which defeats the purpose of using a lift. When the resident is comfortably seated, lower the cradle to the resident's shoulders and begin removing the straps. Then, take the lift away from the resident so that you can safely remove the sling out from under them. To remove the sling, begin with the legs and guide one strap out at a time. Then, guide the sling out from behind the resident.
When transferring a resident from a chair to the bed, you will lean the resident forward and slide the sling down the resident's back. Position yourself on one side of the resident's leg and slide the sling under their thigh.
Repeat this process on the opposite side, and then Thread the dignity strap through the leg portion of the sling. The resident is now ready to have the lift brought to them. Simply attach all 4 points of the sling just as we did before.
This concludes the training video on the Hoyer Presence Patient Lift. Thank you for watching, and if you need more information or further assistance, please call our 800 number or visit our website at www.joerns.com.